Hi everybody, I'm sitting at home Sunday night, rainy October, warm outside, just doing fragrance reviews of the many samples that I have. This one is, I think I'm pronouncing it right. I hate trying to pronounce this one. L'Interdit Givenchy. This apparently is very popular. I see that it's very popular on fragrance groups on social media. It's very well liked by men and women as a lovely fragrance. However, unfortunately, I am not one of those people that likes it. And I hate saying that because I'm a big fan of Givenchy. Givenchy has put out some of my favorite fragrances. This just isn't one of them. So let's go ahead and go. I've already sprayed it on this piece of paper, so I'm holding it. And it is as strong as ever. It is a strong fragrance. So, looking at this on Fragrantica, the top notes are Pear Bergamot, Tuberose, Orange Blossom, Jasmine, Sambac, Patchouli, Vanilla, Anbroxan, and Vetiver. Now, um, Vetiver is such a tricky fragrance, especially in women's fragrances. I love Vetiver if it's put together right. Givenchy fragrance that I love with Vetiver is this. It's the Haute Couture. This is got the vetiver mixed with pepper and raspberry. So this is a very, this is a very smoky, spicy raspberry. Love this one. I love this one too, which I believe has the patchouli, totally different, but this is a pineapple-y one. Love these, both Givenchy. I love Amarise Organza. I really don't like dissing a Givenchy fragrance. But yeah, this one, the problem with me, if you do happen to like this fragrance, the good news is that the sillage and longevity are great. It's going to last for you and it's going to broadcast. It's going to linger and leave that lovely trail. Lovely if you like it. And so I was trying to figure out what I dislike about it. And right off the top, I've already sprayed it. I'm not going to spray it again because it's so potent. You get pear, and I love pear. I semi like that opening of it because I like pear. However, I think what I really dislike about this is the vetiver mixed with the patchouli and going with that pear is almost the vanilla in the base, in my opinion, is not mixing with the vetiver and patchouli. Rather, the vanilla is mixing with the pear, and instead of getting a nice, juicy, fresh pear, you are getting a very syrupy pear. Not syrupy pear in gourmand way, syrupy pear in sweet, headachy way because you're throwing in that sharp vetiver and that very strong patchouli. It just doesn't sit well on me. I just don't care for it for those reasons. It's like I said, it's almost headachy, syrupy, sharp, and then potent patchouli. I like patchouli too. Usually if I like putting a little dab of actual patchouli on me sometimes, just patchouli, just a tiny bit of it. But this kept reminding me of something, and I could not put my finger on it until I read through the notes and the comments on Fragrantica, and I saw where somebody said that they did not like the way it came off with a syrupy, grapey smell. And as soon as I read that, I said, yes, that's what it is. And it made me remember what this reminds me of. And I don't mean to insult Givenchy because I love Givenchy, but what this reminds me of is a very cheap, inexpensive fragrance that I once bought at TJ Maxx. I sometimes go into TJ Maxx and will buy like a little cluster of inexpensive fragrances. And I know a lot of people say, don't use the word cheap. That's rude. Just say inexpensive. So, inexpensive fragrances. And one of the ones that I got, I returned it along with many others because I wanted to go home and see what they smelled like at home. And I actually returned it mainly because it didn't last as long as it definitely doesn't last as long as it just didn't last long. This to me smells like a really long lasting version of that inexpensive grapey fragrance, but this adds in that kicker sharp vetiver and the strong patchouli. And the fragrance, even though I returned it, I'm glad I had taken a picture of it and put it on my Instagram so I can actually show you what that was. and what it looks like. So if you're in TJ Maxx and you see it and you already wear or you end up getting L'Interdit, you could tell me what you think, or tell everybody if you agree or not. But it looks like this, that bottle. I had taken that picture, and it's a white glass bottle, and it says Le Mani Privé Eau de Parfum Paris. However, when I looked into it, I think Le Mani is an Indian fragrance company. I could be wrong, but what I did notice when I read on it is that company has like hundreds of inexpensive fragrances that they ship out, and it's bought, their fragrances are bought around the world, hundreds of different ones, and they've been doing this since the 80s, I think. So yes, when I smell this, that syrupy grapiness is the same thing as in that inexpensive one, except for this is super strong, and it's got that vetiver patchouli, which, as you know this is going to be long lasting when it's got a good amount of vetiver and patchouli. Those are just strong, long lasting bases. That Le Mani Privé, it was that, I had originally bought it because there was something catchy about it with that grapiness. But that smelled, the inexpensive Le Mani smelled like a grapey candle almost, but it did not last at all. It lasted like an hour or something, but it was interesting. And it was nowhere near as, not that this is super complicated, but it didn't have the depth of this. It, as I said, it smelled like a grapey candle. As soon as that girl said that on Fragrantica, yes. And I've noticed with other fragrances, I don't know if I'm repeating myself, certain notes you'll mix with pear. I love a fresh, juicy pear, but if you mix the wrong notes with pear, I think it can give off a syrupy grapiness. When you take that super syrupy grapiness and put it with a strong amount of the patchouli, it's just, to me, tart, syrupy, sharp headache patchouli. That's just how it comes off to me. So that's my summary of this fragrance. Hopefully, I don't, like I said, maybe you'll like it. Hopefully you'll like it, because so many other people do like it. If so, if you do like it, or if you don't, please comment and give your description in the comments so that you can help other people make their purchases. That's it.